Welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are here with Jake, Adam, Davey, and if you struggle to make sales and get more customers, or if you know that people out there build large audiences, or if you feel like your message is getting lost or ignored by other people, then Instagram could and should be your answer. And Jake is here to talk to us about Instagram and why we need to overcome some of those stereotypes we hear about it and why we need to pay attention to it. So Jake, glad to be talking to you.
Amazing. Robert, thanks so much. I'm delighted to be here. Looking forward to chatting.
I'm looking forward to chatting with you too. We're a couple map guys, right? I have a map on the wall. You have a map. So we have that in common already.
Yeah. I love it. I feel so connected.
Yeah. And one thing that I sometimes find myself not connected to is Instagram, because I don't know if I'm just like the wrong type of person or the wrong demographic, but I'm just like, you post picture, you can't post links or text, but then I see some people with huge followings, influencers who are like, doing like the product placement. I see it's blowing up. So I know that this is one of these things that I need to have on my radar. I need to understand better. And I'm sure you're just the guy to kind of help us all out. So Instagram, tell me about it and tell me what makes you special as far as Instagram is concerned.
Well, that's a good question. To be honest, I don't know that there's anything that makes me particularly special when it comes to Instagram. We've been, it's something that I've focused on over the past 4 years as kind of an ideal platform, I think, for people to be able to share their message, reach a wider audience. There's multiple social medias out there at the moment and different channels that people favor. But I think all in, with the different elements of the platform right now, if you look at any of the other platforms out there, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram kind of combines the best of all of those. And it continues to go from strength to strength as it introduces new features. So I genuinely feel that there's a little bit of something in there for everybody. Alongside that, the fact that obviously it's owned by Facebook. Facebook's got huge reach on a global scale. Instagram's got over 1 billion users on the platform. So that's, 1/7 of the entire planet that you can connect with. So if your audience isn't on there, then maybe there's something wrong with the business or area that you're in. So I think there's definitely a chance to engage with people. Probably the challenge that people have, as you mentioned, is how best to do that on a platform which predominantly is images and videos.
Yeah. And so, what is the answer to that? Because I can see someone saying, well, there's got to be a way to make this work, but how do I do it?
Yeah, sure. So one of the first things with Instagram, certainly when it started and kind of rose to prominence, is that the platform is pretty much predominantly based on mobile. The majority of the functionality works on mobile. If you try and open the Instagram website on your computer, it's very reduced in terms of the functionality that people have. And so it's built for and it's designed for being handheld in your pocket, on the go kind of thing. And so as a business owner, as a marketer, the opportunity to reach people literally in that device that they carry around, with that device they carry around in their pocket, is enormous. But at the same time, the features such as photo, video, live video that's on there now, Instagram stories, introduction of reels, it's this opportunity to kind of break down the fourth wall, if you like, and kind of, for a long time there was this need to pretend that we have a certain type of lifestyle, that we live a certain way, or that business is always perfect. But the invention of stories and live video and live TV and such, it's a lot more about real life and being authentic. And I think if you can find your audience on there and they see the more authentic side of you, the more just day to day what you're really like, and you can connect with them on a more of a personal level, people are more inclined to do business with people that they feel that they really get on with, or that they have a relationship with or strike a chord with. If you can do that, then I think it's an absolute powerhouse and a real strong place to be and build your brand.
Well, fantastic. And you're pointing out a couple of things that I hadn't quite put into words. One thing was that when Instagram first came out, I was one of those people that viewed it on the browser, and I prefer I feel like when I'm at a computer, I'm in a browser, I'm in work mode. And so at the time I was like, I don't get this. This is mostly a mobile thing. And that was back when a lot of people were afraid to to go too much into mobile, because the concern was, well, if someone's on a phone and they're about to buy something and they're going to pull out a credit card, the thinking then was they would not buy something. But nowadays, with all the apps and the, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, everything, it's all built in. And then at some point, maybe a few years ago, it really dawned on me that a lot of people don't even have computers anymore, right? And I mean, guys like you and me, when we were young, maybe growing up, we had like a computer room, maybe. But now a lot of people just have the phone. And so it's like things have changed quite a bit. And then there's that other thing that you mentioned about how everything at first seemed really staged, right, on social media. And it seems like, I don't know, the past year or so, it seems like that's kind of worked itself out. I think everyone kind of assumes that if there's a really cool looking photo that, okay, you took like 20 or 30 of those to get the one. Or if there's like some celebrity with an Instagram, we're like, okay, they really work hard on that. And I think everyone kind of agrees on that. But then, like you said, now there's all these new things added, like there's like the live video. And so about that, I sometimes use the stories. So my understanding of stories is that you can string together like the images or the video clips throughout the day, and then it disappears after 24 hours. I've heard of Reels. I don't know what those are. I've heard of like IGTV. So do you have like a quick, I don't know, like a definition list of some of these new things on Instagram? Because all I'm caught up with are stories.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there are multiple parts to Instagram now. And when the platform first started, it started as a photo sharing app, 2008, 2009, I think it was. And the tagline that was used by the founder was "Everyone a photographer." And the idea being that if you think, today we take for granted that people have filters, and filters are a standard thing on phones these days. But 11, 12 years ago, that was a real new thing. And it's one of the first apps that really introduced that and really took that to the next level. So the main feed is the predominant and still like the kind of backbone, if you like, of Instagram. Stories are a fantastic place to engage with your audience. As you say, it's a disappearing video or image, and they're a great place to engage with your existing audience. They're not the tool to use for growing your following necessarily, but they're the thing to capture and engage and network with people once they're already following you, and they get a bit more personalized, interaction from you as well. The great thing about stories, and just to give a bit of context on stories, and this again comes back to why I think Instagram is so incredible. Back when Snapchat first really kind of hit the scene, went big in kind of 2016, 2017, stories and disappearing stories were the big thing. And Instagram approached them and tried to buy Snapchat. It didn't happen. So what do? They took the absolute best features from a different platform and they put it right in the middle of Instagram. Now, 3 years, 4 years later, we're looking at exactly the same with Reels. TikTok, through lockdown, COVID, pandemic, a global pandemic and such, TikTok has taken off like on a massive scale. So what does Instagram do? They create Reels, which is an almost identical version to TikTok. They put it right in the middle of the platform. They give that the most exposure, the most reach out of any other feature on the platform right now to get people excited about it. And so, it's the kind of thing you expect to stick. And so Reels right now are shorter video, TikTok style, if you like. Again, fun, engaging, interesting, great for maybe short tips, tricks, ideas, inspirational videos, that kind of thing. And then the other two elements, Instagram TV is a further element. It's kind of been pushed to the sidelines a little bit, but when that launched, it was touted as a rival to YouTube, and that's for longer form video. And then the final element, which is probably the most powerful if you're looking at actually engaging people and potentially moving them off the platform to generate sales, is direct messaging. And, for a long time, people like even Gary Vaynerchuk talked about direct messaging on Instagram being the most powerful marketing tool of the decade. And so it really is still incredibly powerful. If you want to engage with people on a one-to-one basis and a personal basis and build strong relationships, the saying is it goes down in the DMs, and that is still 100% the case.
And the direct messaging, that's something that I keep seeing it and then I forget about it and then I see it again. Like I see all the time, like a restaurant will use it and I'll see like some like marketing buddies I have will like send DMs to like the local business in the town and like land some of them as clients. So I mean, do you have any fun stories like that? Do you have any or not Instagram stories, but like small lowercase s stories, right? Do you have anything like that of like someone you know or a business or yourself that has used the Instagram messaging to like get some customers back, close some deals, anything like that?
I mean, I've got to be totally open and say that this is one of our strategies. It's one of our principal strategies that we use for moving clients off Instagram and into either into what is a funnel, into the email database, or into a phone call. I've listened to one of your previous episodes, and the conversation was very much about moving people off the platform and building a database, right? So it's wanting to get people into that database for, say, the longevity of your business is absolutely vital. And it's something that we look to do, not just through DMs, but through other links on the platform as well. But it's one of the main strategies that we teach. And so we use that ourselves for converting clients on and off the platform. A number of our clients, I'll take one example, a lady called Kay, who we were working with last year. She has a holiday property business. So based in the UK, she's got large properties where families or friends can all hire out, a 10-bed property with swimming pools and all this kind of stuff on site, and they can have a fantastic trip together. She'd never got any clients before on Instagram, and within the first 6 weeks or so of us working together, she was fully booked for the next 12 months. So it's just something that she'd never even tapped into. So the potential is absolutely massive. We've got clients that are doing 3-figure, 4-figure sales directly on Instagram through direct messaging. So the potential is massive. It really, really is. And coming back to, again, I've got the interview that you did recently in my head at the moment, but the value is 100%. And with Instagram, as with any of the platform, the value is building a database. That's for the longevity of your business. It's moving people off the platform from something that you don't own into something that you do. But if you're in the position to engage with people where they are right there and then on a, kind of Gary Vee calls it hand-to-hand combat, and you can talk to people right there and then, and they're in a position where they want to move forward, that's where they're spending their time. And so that's where we need to go and meet them as business owners.
Well, fantastic. Well, I feel like there's like the top level of our conversation, literally talking about Instagram, but then the undercurrent, I'm getting all these little bits of marketing advice, like even just the whole idea of moving people off the platform. I mean, that applies in so many different areas, right? If you're selling e-commerce on Amazon, if you're selling books, if you're selling like courses on Udemy, like if it works in any given scenario, move them off the rented land and into the land that you own. I mean, that's good marketing advice in general. And something else that was kind of, I wanted to just maybe mention there is that whole idea of if you have like a competitor in general, see if they have like really hot features that you don't have, and they won't play ball or whatever, absorb some of those features. And there's been so many times when like, just in general, if I had like a product or a course or a book or something, and someone else had something that was like the next iteration of that, I'd be like, well, they didn't exactly copy me, and I'm not going to exactly copy them, but can I absorb, or is that feature in that book or that software, is that something where I can kind of catch up to them? And then that way, the only difference is the audience, right? If someone said, well, I'm on Instagram, but it doesn't have this feature, I could go to TikTok for this feature. If Instagram adds this feature, then what's really the reason to go to TikTok if the people you're already talking to are on Instagram? So just like little itty bitty marketing kind of ideas are floating out there. And so when you're talking about your Instagram, like sliding into the DM, so to speak, is that the kind of thing where like, is it like a numbers game? Do you feel like you have to send like X number of messages per week? Or are you like more like keep an eye out for the good opportunities? Like, I don't know, when we hear about people landing clients or landing monthly income from Instagram, I'm thinking, well, how many cold messages did they need to send? How many replies do they need to do? How many calls did that go? Do you have any thoughts on that, or is it just all over the place, or is that just a bad question?
No, it's a great question. And I mean, it's all about the numbers at the end of the day, right? The numbers have to add up for this to be a viable business. And I guess in one way, weighing up what are the returns that you're getting from platform X versus platform Y, or from strategy X from strategy Y. So no, it definitely is all about the numbers, but it's not necessarily the case of cold calling, if you like, or cold messaging. It's totally the opposite idea, that the real shift that we're looking for, and the kind of the main thing that I teach is how to build your audience and build your brand and actually grow a following, so that you're moving away from what feels like that constant chasing and needing to count the numbers, needing to do 50 connections or 100 connections or 10 or whatever it might be, and moving from the point of chasing to actually, you built your position, you've got authority, you've got X number of followers, you've got fantastic content going out, you are positioned as the expert, your position as the authority, and actually there's a shift then in the movement and the direction of energy, and actually people are coming to you. And that's the position that we work with our clients, is how can we build your position and build your authority, so that when you do put out certain types of posts, certain types of messages, certain types of stories, the people that are ready to go and are ready to work with you, they're going to put their hand up, they're going to raise their hand, and then you have a follow-up process and a follow-up sequence in place that means that you can best understand where they are, if they are going to be a good fit, and if they are ready to move forward with your product or service.
Oh, cool. And I mean, you can imagine when Gary Vee makes a post, I mean, imagine all the messages that come into him. I mean, even when I go and I like a Gary Vee, if it's like a Facebook Live or a post, like I get other Gary Vee fans messaging me. So imagine what he gets being on the front end of that firehouse there. So I mean, there's so many questions and so many things I have to think about Instagram. But for me, just I keep thinking like, well, it's like sort of a science, isn't it? Like there's like a matter of like making use of all the features, and there's using all the feedback and like responding to your messages. But then you kind of alluded to a little bit, there's like, well, what do you want this post to accomplish? And like, who is this post for? And I'm sure there's like things like, times a day in posts. So I know that we're kind of getting sort of almost out of time, but can you speak to that a little bit as far as like how much thinking and how much like science and proven things go into the strategy behind all this kind of posting and marketing here?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing this for 4 years, and I calculated recently, I think I've probably posted over 33,000 times on Instagram now across our various different channels. I mean, I've got my personal channel, but there's been, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 accounts that we've had over the past 4 years that I've been testing different strategies with. And, some of them have disappeared. Some of them have gone on to grow really, really well. Some of them we've worked with for a bit, and then we've moved them on or sold them. So there's been multiple testing and lots of testing that's been going on to get to this stage. And we found now a process that we use. It's what we use and have used now for the past 3 years or so. We use it with our clients. It's called the Rocket System, and it's a 6-step process that, if followed through each of those steps, it helps people build their brands, get at a minimum their first 10,000 followers on Instagram. Authentic followers, no bots, no automation, no paid followers, nothing like that. Real people that are actually going to engage. They're going to convert if you have an offer, or if you have if you want them to move people off the platform and monetize. We have a very kind of step-by-step and laid out formula, or a roadmap, if you like, that we use with every client that we work with, whether we do a managed service on their behalf or whether we're teaching and educating people that want to do it on their own.
Fantastic. Well, the Rocket System. So where can people find out about the Rocket System? Is that like, is there a downloadable? Do I have to get on a coaching call? Is there a product? How do we, if someone hears that and says, okay, if I do these things, I can get to my 10,000 followers, then what's the next step there?
Yeah, sure. So they can, what I would suggest, probably the easiest at this stage, is to get a full walkthrough of that process. They can check out the website. So the link, it's my name. So it's jakeadamdavey.com/brand, jakeadamdavey.com/brand. That'll take people through, and then you can get a full walkthrough of that process and the Rocket System. And it's I mean, very, very simple, very, very straightforward. I'm happy to give a high level overview now of each of the 6 steps. Ultimately, step number 1, is rebrand, or branding or rebrand, and identifying who your market is, who you're speaking to, and what your account is going to look like. Then we're looking at optimizing your profile. So when people do find you and when they do come across you, they immediately are compelled to follow. They want to know more. They want to know how you can help them. And they want to know that you're the right person for them to follow, that they're going to get value from in one form or another. C is content strategy and how to create and share and distribute viral content focused on content that adds value and it's useful and it focuses on the audience, but not forgetting the distribution, which is the main thing that people forget. They get the content done, but then they don't know how to distribute it. And so that's a key element within there, within the letter C in the third step. K is kickstart your growth. So that's where we start engaging with 3, 4, 5 different growth strategies. Some of them remarkable results. We're talking, tens of thousands, some of them 30, 40, 50,000 followers overnight with these steps. So very, very powerful in the letter K. E then is engaging your audience. So once these people have connected with you, how do you engage with them and interact with them so that they are likely to take action, or so you can find out who's ready to take action? And then T is time to monetize. And that is the specific process that we use step by step about how we've moved people off the platform and generated now, I think, over $1.8 million in sales just from this specific process alone.
Nice. And as you're listing those, I can imagine that maybe people out there, if they're ringing it, maybe they have 2 or 3 of these items and they're wondering why it's not working. It's because you're not using every single step in the system. And it might even be a thing that, some things people maybe have figured out over time or trial and error or common sense, but wouldn't it make a lot more sense if, say if they're posting content in a certain way or at a certain time of day, if they went through your system and they said, oh yeah, that's why I'm posting every Friday at 3 p.m. or something like that. Like maybe even going through this will maybe shed some light on why the things that they've been doing on accident are working. And then now they can have the complete picture. And maybe they're really well on these 2 or 3 buckets, these 2 or 3, letters of the rocket system, but they need to, have a good first impression when someone first finds the profile. Maybe they need to do the T, the time to monetize, and have this actually make money. That way they can have an ad budget. That way they can make it worthwhile. So jakeadamdavey.com/brand is the place to go and claim that and see if you're doing some or all of things on the right track, and just see how you can beef up your Instagram traffic, engagement, marketing, monetization, all of that fun stuff. And as we are wrapping up, winding down a little bit here, Jake, is there something that we all really need to focus on in Instagram right now? Something that maybe is like untapped, not used so much, but if we in the secret club can use this thing on Instagram, then we'll be a step above everyone else. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to give 2 things. So the first thing I'd say is that if you want any kind of traction on Instagram at the moment, organic, so without paid traffic, then you need to be looking at Reels. You don't need to reinvent the reel. And apologies for the pun, but you don't need to. There's so many people out there right now that are creating reels and short videos and such, which look fantastic. So take a look at people within your space, take a look at, say, your market leaders or people that are doing similar things to you, and get inspiration from them and start creating reels. I'd say, a couple of times a week would be a recommendation. But the other thing I would recommend as well, and this works on any platform, it really does, but even if people just want to start getting some traction and getting some engagement with their audience, what I would recommend is, if they're, depending on the level that the people are at, if they're at the stage where they're using stories and comfortable with stories, putting out a story on a Friday, and then everybody that views that story, send them a direct message and just say, have a great weekend and hope to catch up next week, or something like that. Or if you're not at the stage of using stories and you're sat there thinking, what on earth is a story, Jake? Then don't even do that. Just go into the people that are following you and send them all a message. Send 30 of them a message and say, have a great weekend. And immediately that will do wonders for the engagement. You'll get people messaging you back. Next time you post, it will double the amount of likes and comments that you get on your post, because Instagram and Facebook see that you're connecting with people. It sees people responding, and it will show your content to more people.
I like that a lot, and so easy to do. I mean, it works for any niche, any business, any account. post your story. When people view it, send the message saying, have a great weekend. And the posting a story in general, I think that's fun to do anyway, because so many times you'll post on Instagram or Facebook, and sometimes, get 10, 20 likes, and then you post a story and you get 300 views, and you're thinking, so I have all these frenemies or who knows who are watching what I'm doing and maybe not liking and commenting, but then they see the story, now they're busted. I send them a message, now they're double busted. And then now I stand out because I'm someone that sent the message. And then, as you said, Instagram sees with their algorithm sees that, well, this is someone that, number one, goes and sends messages out, but then gets replies back and gets clicks and engagement back. I mean, so easy to do. Maybe a little time consuming, but this could just be like a few minutes every day, or a few minutes on that Friday afternoon while you're, chilling out watching TV or something. So still very doable. And it's so easy to do that so many people have not done it. So I love that tip. I will steal that. JakeAdamDavey.com/brand to find out about that rocket system. And thanks for stopping by, Jake. And we'll see you on Instagram. We'll see everyone else on Instagram. And we hope that people add you on Instagram as well. Any final parting words before we say goodbye?
I just want to say a massive thank you for inviting me on today. I know you're on episode like 760 or 770. So this is really established, and I've enjoyed listening to previous episodes. It's a delight and a pleasure to be here. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm getting a lot of value from it, and I know that a lot of other people will be as well. So thanks very much.
Thank you. That's encouraging.